go.
Are you going?
Yeah, I'm
Have
going.
you gone?
Are you going?
I'm here.
All right, because I'm gonna dip.
Oh,
but
dip.
You could do this on your own, right?
Yeah, dip, yeah, dude.
All right, cool, man.
All right, see ya.
Wait a second, Lucas. We're doing earbuds right
That's
now.
true.
What's up, buds? Welcome to another episode of the Earbuds Podcast.
I forgot.
Sometimes you forget. You know,
I live to forget.
You start recording, and it's just so natural that you're like, all right, I'm just gonna go live my life now.
I just so naturally don't want to talk to you. It's just so natural for me to be like, all right, so we're done here, right?
Yeah, that like whatever is happening, you can do it by yourself, and I can leave. And what we're doing today is a fresh drop. This is the latest, greatest, newest albums today. And we take, right now, we're doing a little look through, a little look see, and we're giving y'all our thoughts right afterwards. This day's episode is a album called Horseshit on Route 66 by a little band called The Garden. Is the band I only kind of learned about recently. They made a song with Mac DeMarco that I really liked, and I checked out their album Kiss My Super Bowl Ring, and I thought it'd be an interesting little thing to show you, Lucas. And what is your first impression?
Well, I had definitely never heard of The Garden before today, but you've heard some of their stuff, right? Not just that song. Like, you've heard some other songs by them, right?
Yeah, I've heard Kiss My Super Bowl Ring, that album that came before this one.
That's right. I wasn't paying attention. I'm sorry.
No, I know.
I always get nervous before we start. So, like, I start reading through my notes. I'm like, okay, where do I start? I honestly had no idea what to expect, even after reading, like, their bios and like what people have described them as, because in their Spotify bio, it says that they're punk-influenced jungle and drum and bass style. And, like, what the fuck does that even mean? And then their genius said, while the rest of their peers were first discovering the Dead Kennedys and Black Flag, the brothers Shears preferred the hostile and art-damaged rhythms of Saccharine Trust, the Minutemen, and Killing Joke. And I never heard any of those bands either. And that description just sounded so fucking snooty and, like, kind of what up-their-own-ass art people say, that I was really nervous going into this record. And I gotta say, I was still very caught off guard throughout the whole album, but I think genuinely I kind of enjoyed it for the most part.
When you read that it's like art, pop, rock, or whatever, it's not nearly as snooty as that. This is a raw ass record.
Yeah,
if
yeah.
nothing
I mean,
else,
it is super raw. The entire thing.
There are moments where it almost sounds like they hadn't really rehearsed, and it's maybe the first or second take that they put on the song. A lot of the production, specifically on like the guitar and bass, are kind of janky, and it doesn't sound like they took too much time to make it sound good.
No, it's everything is kind of shitty in, like, the best way possible.
Yeah, and, like,
everything sounds kind of shitty.
It's kind of shitty, and throughout this entire album, the production will change, like the mixing will change mid-song, and it's kind of disorienting. If nothing else.
Oh, for sure. I mean, overall, I really like the production overall on the record. Like we've said, it's pretty raw and grating for the most part. But then, yeah, like you said, they'll randomly have like these really clean parts like interspersed throughout the record that kind of made it sort of confusing to listen to. But like the production isn't the only part of this album that made it confusing for me, and at the same time, like, pretty fucking entertaining. Like, I was pretty well confused the entire fucking time we were listening to this.
Yeah, there wasn't it throughout this record. I as well never really got a grasp of, oh, this is what they're doing.
You as well?
I as well.
Oh. I didn't put on my bow tie before we started recording, Ash. I didn't know we were going to be speaking in the Queen's English on this one.
Someone's got
shows
to
you-
now.
just-
Because she's in the
it just shows
fucking
you how
dirt,
fucking-
baby. Hell yeah, we did it, boys. Good job.
Oh, wow. I was gonna say, that just shows you how stupid I am, that I think you saying as well is too fucking proper for this show. But, like, I concur, Ash.
I confer.
I confer your concurrence. My ablutions that secreted out of my nethers while we were listening to this
Don't like
musical
that.
album. Ablution? You don't like the word ablution?
It was like a couple other words, but
Album?
Yeah, it was an album. I don't like you calling. I like it when it's called a vinyl.
You prefer, yeah.
I prefer vinyl because there was one time I went to a record shop to sell some vinyl, and I was like, "Hey, I'm here to sell some vinyl," and this motherfucker was like, vinyl's actually what they're made of. It's not what they're called. You can call it an album or an LP. Just don't call it a vinyl." And I was like, "Okay,
Wow.
are you gonna fucking take my vinyl or not?"
Yeah, are you gonna pay me or what's up?
So out of spite, I will from now on only call those vinyl.
I support it, man. I call them vinyl all the time, and I feel cool as shit saying it.
But through the entire album, you have no idea where anything is fucking going. You can't even really figure out what's happening mid-song.
No. Yeah, but it's kind of like, the album is so random. Where they go with the songs and the way that they use the vocals and the way that they mic the drums and then they mix it, like, I really liked all the random, completely out of nowhere, like, drum and bass breakbeat shit that they would mix in with, like, their weird brand of post-punk noise rock
Yeah.
pop
It
punk.
almost sounded like AI-generated music.
Yeah, that's a really interesting way to think about it, because it definitely didn't sound like humans could write this.
No, it reminded me...
This felt like if you put elephants in a room with a bunch of musical instruments, it's like...
Yeah, right.
They're gonna come up with a beat eventually, you know? Like, you've seen elephants painting and shit.
Yeah, if you put a bunch of cheetahs in a room, eventually they'll...
With a drum set and a fucking Martin acoustic.
Yeah, they're eventually gonna write Stairway to Heaven.
It's called evolution, Ash. Like,
Right, yeah.
hello, hi, welcome to the world. But I did like how random this album was. It didn't always work for me, but I did like how random and noisy, and honestly, like, how many times were we listening to this that we both just kind of like did that meme of that guy that's like, oh, what the fuck?
Yeah, it's just,
You know?
zooms in on the face. We were pretty speechless through most of our listen through of this record.
Yeah, and we've only listened to this once, like, disclaimer.
Yeah.
And yeah, there aren't a lot of albums that have just completely flabbergasted us to the point where, like, we're usually talking throughout the albums that we're listening to,
Yeah.
like, for these fresh drops, because it's kind of, we're reacting with each other, right? And we're just kind of like, oh, we're taking notes, like something that you called out or something that I called out.
Yeah.
But yeah, on this one, it was like, I was pretty furiously taking notes just on every song, just being like, what is going on here? And this kind of reminds me of this. Like, this album went from parts that sounded kind of like later albums of Fiddler at times. Like, they had that kind of punky, snotty vibe, almost kind of,
Yeah.
you know, and this is another end of the spectrum of kind of surf rock or whatever than that Fiddler is, or alternative rock, but like Dive. I don't know if you've heard of them.
No, I haven't.
DIIV. There were moments that sounded like them. They're kind of noise rocky, but can be catchy at times. And then they were legit like, what was that song that sounded like Korn and Primus mixed together? Squished face, slick pig living in a smoky city.
Yeah.
That sounded a lot like Green Jelly's like Three Little Pigs as well. That I used to fucking love that song when I was a kid. But for sure, like, you called it out, that you're like, this sounds like a Primus song. I'm like, yeah, but then it also sounds like old Korn at times as well.
It's, well, I mean, the amalgamation of genres on each song.
See, again, with the as wells, the amalgamations.
Look, you're just gonna have to eventually accept that I know some fucking words. You know
You're
what I'm
trying to
saying?
show me up here, man. You're trying to and one me right now.
Maybe I already fucking did. Maybe I'm doing an and 2. Maybe I got an and 3
Oh.
maybe got an
Okay.
and 4 in the fucking sleeve.
It's 2-1 right now, buddy. All right, you said as well. You said, what was the
Amalgamation.
second fucking amalgamation? And I said flabbergasted.
You did say flabbergasted.
So
That's-
the more 4-syllable words that either one of us has at the end of this episode wins.
Make sure to keep track on that. Whoever
Yeah.
gets closest to guessing in the comments gets the entire bowl of candy.
Let's continue with our parliamentary communication. Parliament.
Uh,
2-2.
I'm not giving you any points for that.
2-2. That is a 4 parliamentary. 5, bitch.
Is it a fucking word though?
Parliamentary? What's a word?
What's really a word if you think
Like-
about it?
What's not a word when you think about it?
Right. Nothing
Right.
that I can think of.
Right. And with that said, I think it's time that we can talk about our choice nugs, our 2 favorite songs
think so,
on the
too.
record, and also our honorable mentions. Our songs that we liked, but they weren't our favorites. So, what are your honorable mentions before we get into the choices?
My honorable mentions are gonna be Horseshit on Route 66. It had a kind of catchy, acoustic thing in there with some weird 808, super heavy bassy kicks.
Yeah.
Orange County Punk Rock Legend sounded like a fucked up Sugar Ray song.
Yes, yeah.
But my first nug is gonna be Puerta de Limosina.
The Door of Limousine.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
This one comes out blaring with just a massive drum solo roll thing that
Yeah, like manic, uncoordinated drums.
it recurs multiple times through the song.
Still 2.
2 to 3. Come on.
Still 2.
Come on.
No way.
on.
No
It
fucking
doesn't
way.
have to be long, baby.
I established the house rule of 4 syllables.
All right, fine.
At least.
Um,
So what'd you say? Fucking presume? What was it?
It recurs,
It recurs.
sir.
Okay. Yeah, decent.
It's super hardcore punk. It's
Mhm.
it's almost it's like blast beats.
But like weird downplayed vocals too. Like he's kind of singing kind of low and
yeah,
quiet
yeah.
and slow, which it didn't really match, but it somehow worked.
I like when they do that on this record because that happens multiple times where the music's kind of just going crazy or whatever, and the vocals are just
Yeah.
kind of down here saying whatever, you know.
Yeah, I liked it.
And it's a nice
And
dichotomy.
and when the drum and bass influence finally came out on Puerto de Limosina, that was cool. Like that's the 3rd song on the record, and then finally, like, you know, I kept thinking, I was like, well, where's the drum and bass? You know, and it was kind of like from Puerta on, it was in like every song.
They were not shy of adding it after that.
No, I liked it though. The super loud, like pringy bass stuff, and like the guitars were like hyper distorted.
Yeah.
To the point of almost like incoherence. Yeah, that's a good song. I didn't have a lot of honorable mentions, but you know, I feel like I'm going to if I listen to this album again, to be honest.
I mean, it would
but-
definitely require, I'd say, 3 to 4 listens before having like a solid opinion on it.
Yeah, like a fully fleshed, like,
This is just our first look review. This is our
Literally,
first gut
yeah.
reaction.
yeah. But I really liked What Else Could I Be But a Jester. I liked all the EDM drum and bass stuff and that super weird like wah, 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 wah. Like I
Yeah,
love that
yeah.
in drum and bass. Almost like the vocals were almost like rapping at times on that song, so it kind of gave it this like grimy, like this like UK grime feel, because the whole song is just kind of like weird and dark and aggressive. But I liked it a lot, and I liked At the Campfire a lot too. I would say,
The last
which is
one.
the closing track, which I think is one of the more catchy songs on the record too, and they have those kind of peppered in that are like actually pretty damn catchy.
Yeah, yeah, they definitely have some catchy parts.
Yeah, but At the Campfire gave me this like ska punk vibe in the drums and energy, kind of this like ska punk energy to the whole thing, but mixing in post-punk, The Cure style instrumentation and like guitar, the production on the guitars and the synth on that song. Like it was a weird post-punk ska punk like twist for me, but My first favorite song on the album, and I think it's kind of a through line for me, is like all the catchiest stuff on the record is what I immediately kind of grabbed onto and liked the most.
Yeah.
But Freight Yard, I thought was a really fun song.
Freight Yard is my second choice, Nug.
Yeah, dude,
Yep.
I'm not surprised. I thought we were both gonna have that one too because it kind of has this like pop punk mixed with like indie dance stuff going on.
Yeah, it's a weird kind of it's a familiar delivery to me on the verses, though I can't put my finger on it. It's something like Pavement, I guess.
Okay, I haven't heard Pavement.
But I mean, even aside from that, the verses are catchy to me. I like the delivery of them. There's kind of a weird explosion around 40 seconds where the production just kind of like changes a little bit.
And it's clearly the single from the album. Like, I think it's probably the catchiest song on the record.
Yeah.
But it's cool because while they have the drum and bass and kind of like electro music mixed in as elements throughout like a lot of the songs in this record, I feel like Freight Yard, for the most part, the drums are pretty much doing a sort of breakbeat the whole time. And
Yeah.
I thought that was cool, like that they just kept it going the entire song. And I love like something that we haven't mentioned yet either, which is on, you could say pretty much on every one of these songs, is the bass being so like loud and
It
front
is
and center in the
up
mix.
there.
I love it. I love the production on the bass. Like the way that they mix it, I thought is just a really interesting sound. It doesn't sound good, but I like it a lot.
It's interesting. If anything
Yeah.
else, I knew this album would be interesting. And
Yeah, I literally had had no idea what this was, and you mentioned it. It wasn't even on the list that I was looking at of new albums that came out today. So
really, yeah.
But these guys have almost, I think, a million monthly listeners on Spotify. So they're not.
They
they're
played
not little,
fucking Coachella.
Right.
Somehow.
So yeah, they got fans for sure. But my second favorite song, my second choice, Nug, comes towards the end of the album, and it's "Chainsaw the Door."
Really?
I really liked the again, we've mentioned that they kind of do this new wave post-punk Cure, Duran Duran kind of thing at times.
Yeah.
And I really liked the new wave 80s-ness of the mix with the synths and the guitar like production and mixing.
Yeah.
But then on top of that, they put the drum and bass like wobbly bass stuff, and then they also have this like super washed out chill wave style percussion kind of mixed in with that like kind of stuff that Washed Out uses on like every one of his songs. So I liked it. It almost sounds like the glory days also of like indie dance pop, whenever I was in college, like Phoenix and MGMT and Two Door Cinema Club and stuff. Like it had that vibe to me as well.
Sure.
So
I could totally
I really
see
like
that.
it. And I haven't liked that type of music since I was 22. So to write a song like Chainsaw the Door and that uses some of those elements and it kind of made it feel really fresh because of everything else that they're doing on it, I liked it. I liked it a lot.
Oh yeah, man. Well, let's get to ratings.
Let's do it.
I don't really know. I don't really know where to land on this one right now.
It's gonna be a weird rating, man, because like we said a few times already, that we've only listened to this album once, and I know for a fact that I'm gonna like it more the more I listen to it.
Right. Yeah.
Almost for a fact. Like I know it. Like there was so much on this album that caught me off guard in a really good way, but also it was like hard for me to take it in.
Yeah. No. I mean.
Yeah. So I really liked the production for how shitty it was, but they pulled off the shittiness and the rawness of it. And like you said, the mixing in of the kind of really good, clean production at times. I liked a lot of the songwriting decisions, even though when we first started, I was really not digging it, and it was something that really had to grow on me. But by the end, I totally got it and really enjoyed it. But to be fair, with my first rating, my first time ever listening to the album, like, it's going to be relatively low compared to where I think it's going to end up.
Yeah.
So
it's same with me.
Yeah, because the album was just very, we've said confusing or confounding.
Yeah.
Or,
Discombobulating.
Fuck! God damn it.
Fucking 2 to 3 or whatever.
3-2. Okay. I got a little bit. I'm gonna stretch out this rating then. I'm gonna think of a no. I think I'm gonna give it like a honestly like a 6.8.
6.8.
But I know it's gonna go up for sure.
Yeah, mine's gonna be around there as well. It's just a fucking cornucopia of different sounds.
Oh my god.
It's
4-2.
genres all crazy mixed in. You never know what's gonna happen. It's almost I would consider this like almost outsider music. You ever heard of that?
Yeah. No, I haven't, but so I don't know exactly what you mean, because what I thought when you said outsider, I thought like it just feels like art house music. It feels like something that a lot of people are just gonna really get and immediately glob onto, and a lot of people are gonna think that it's just noise and directionless.
Yeah.
And without any sort of like musical merit, and but the whole thing is that the album is really unpredictable. 4-3. So I want to let you keep going with your rating. I just wanted to get in that word.
I don't. All right.
Unpredictable 5.
But like, it's not like the fucking Queen isn't proud of that one. You know what I'm saying?
I'll think of another one.
All right.
4-3.
Fine. And so it's gonna take a while to grasp onto this. I could see either side of the argument. If you think this album is absolute trash, or if you think this is some like next level shit, I can understand either side pretty well.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm gonna give this a straight like 6.0. Just because there are some very catchy parts. There are some very interesting things that happen in the music.
But it's just so much to unpack.
But it's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot. And their last album that I listened to was to say it's more focused is maybe not the right picture, but it seemed like a little more produced. It was a little more kind of like songs rather than this mix of noises that happen to be together.
Yeah.
But yeah, solid 6. But I'm interested to see what you guys think of this fucking record.
Me fucking too.
Did you do you get it immediately? Are you going to listen to it a couple times?
Probably.
Are you just not going to give it the fucking time of day after the first song?
I hope not.
We want to hear what you have to say. Say it in the comments. We're on YouTube. We are wherever you can find podcasts streaming. We are on Instagram at EBPcast, baby.
Rate us.
Hate us, berate us.
All those. Thumbs up, like, bells, subscribes.
You know what? I think
that's
it. I think that's it for all I had to say.
I think that's it. Well, Ash, I think, you know what? This ended up being pretty good.
You know what, Lucas? I think this was pretty good. 4-3, baby.
Fuck!
Let's fucking go. Bye, y'all.
Wait, give me a second.
Incorrigible.